Okay, hey everybody. This is very impromptu. Had no plans on doing this, but I was sitting today and I've been pondering it for a while, and I thought, well, everybody's doing it, but then I said, well, that's not me. So I just really felt a message in my heart today, and not a preaching mess. I'm not going to preach to you, but I just really felt like a recurring theme in my heart today. And I was sitting and I was just pondering, whether I should go live. I've never done that before. But I began to think about why I should. And Henry Cloud posted a message, and I'll read that message to you. And it says, he says, setting consequences in places gives someone a clear choice and sets them free to make it. Our job is to accept their consequence. We let them know that they can choose A or B. If they choose A, certain things will happen, and if they choose B, other things will happen. This is clarity and freedom. This was really good right here. He says, this mindset does so many good things. It helps you get clear about what you want. I'm going to say that again. It helps you get clear about what you want. It forces you to communicate what you want directly. It keeps you from being judgmental, nagging, controlling, all of which bring about bad feelings in the relationship. And most of all, it preserves the freedom of the other person to make his or her own choice, something he or she has had all along. And this is clearly exercising anyway, that you're not honoring. So when I read that, I immediately knew that it was just confirmation regarding what I wanted to share tonight. And that is, it's time to have a real conversation with yourself. So many times we are programmed. I think it's just the messaging that we get from TV, the messaging sometimes that we get from watching women in our lives. Just from different angles, we get this messaging that tells us that we should be. There are a lot of shoulds. You should do this. Women do this way. You're a real woman if you do this, or you're a real woman if you do that. And this is how you should handle this. You've got all your ducks in a row. And all of these things, there are all these shoulds, and we kind of get away from our own voice. Somebody says, well, by the time you're a certain age, you should be married with children. Or, hey, when you graduate from school, the right thing to do is go to college for this. This is what we do. And this is how we do it in our family or in our, group or our society. And we buy into that. We start buying into that from the time we're kids. We start out playing. Women, first thing we want to do is play with a baby doll. And we hang on to that. And I think it's nice. It's beautiful because being a mom and just being a woman, period, but especially being a mother, there are such great rewards. But guess what? Not everybody's fit to be a mother. It doesn't serve everybody well. So what I'm saying today is somehow or another we get off on following the beat of somebody else's drum. And we lose the sound of our own. So I'll say that again. We get off on following the beat of someone else's drum, and we lose the sound of our own. And so what happens is over time, we become more and more what I would like to call codependent. And this is a term that has changed my life. It has changed the way I see things. And I'm still a work in progress. So I'm not on here to pretend like I'm, some expert or I'm some guru or like I have it all together, because I do not. Okay. But what I am saying is, as I get these insights, I like to share. And that's one of the things I've said, as I am approaching 40, I'm saying, Lord, help me to not lose the sound of my own drum. What do I like? What do I really want? And that's why, again, my topic tonight is, it's time to have a real conversation with yourself. And so what I want to kind of open up with tonight is I want to kind of sing this song, and it really does. First of all, again, I welcome you, but I want to sing this song, and this song just sort of sums it up. You know, this song, if you get this in your spirit, it will help you to learn to trust the God that created you enough to allow you to be you, so that we can get so wrapped up in him that we're not, again, you know, we can stop following the beat of someone else's drum, and we can find out what his plan is for our life. We can really lock into that, and we can really settle in and be more settled. You know, think in your 20s, a lot of times you're just all over the place. You know, you I don't know what I want to do. Well, I mean, this person's doing this, so hey, I'll try that, you know, and it's just like I said, you know, it's just like we just get off. But I think when you can lock into the plan of God for your life, it causes you to be more settled. And it's something about the 30s. I know the late 30s. There's something about that really does cause you to start to settle more. And it's sort of like you get tired of that same old beat that you've been marching to all this time. And you start to want to find, like, again, you know, hey, this doesn't work for me anymore. This same thing I've been doing all these years, it does not serve me well. So I want you to listen to the song. You can sing along with me if you like. But it's just, I know the plans that I have for you. And it's Martha Munizzi. I know the plans I have for you. And I know just what you're going through when you can't see what tomorrow holds, and yesterday is through. Remember, I know the plans I have for you. I know the plans I have for you. Yes, I know just what you're going through when you can't see what tomorrow holds, and yesterday is through. Remember, I know the plans I have for you, and your best is yet to come. Your best is yet to come, for your best is yet to come, for the best is yet to come. You got to believe that. So your best is yet to come, for the best is yet to come. And I just want you to just lock that into your heart tonight and just believe that your best is yet to come. The words say, I know the plans that I have for you. I know what you're going through when you can't see what tomorrow holds and yesterday is through. Remember, I know the plans that I have for you. And so I want to kind of lock in tonight again to that topic, and that is, it's time to have a real conversation with yourself. And I want to read to you a scripture, and it's Luke 6, verse 43 through 45. And when I read it, I read the Message Bible, and it was really good. I like this translation. So again, it's Luke 6, verse 43 through 45. Okay. When you have it, say amen. I'm just kidding. All right. So verse 43 says, you don't get wormy apples off of a healthy tree, nor good apples off of a diseased tree. The health of the apple, this is really good. The health of the apple tells the health of the tree. You must begin with your own life-giving lives. It is who you are, not what you say or do, that counts. Your true being brims over into true words and deeds. Why are you so polite with me? Always saying, yes, sir, and that's right, sir, but never doing a thing I tell you. These words I speak to you are not mere additions to your life, home improvements to your standard of living. They are foundation words, words to build a life on. This is really good, listen to this. If you work the words into your life, you are like a smart carpenter who dug deep and laid the foundation of his house on bedrock. When the river burst its banks and crushed against its house, nothing could shake it. It was built to last. But if you just use my words in Bible studies and don't work them into your life, you are like a dumb carpenter who built a house but skipped the foundation. When the swollen river came crashing on it, it collapsed like a house of cards. It was a total loss. And for some of us, that might be what it feels like, where you did everything you could to try to salvage something, or you've just been in this pattern of pretty much damage control and trying to salvage what you have left, because we've wasted a lot of time, like I said earlier, just kind of following the beat of someone else's drum. We've gotten off, on this pattern of trying to appease everybody. We've gotten off into this pattern of trying to identify what we think is work instead of consulting our carpenter, our master builder, our contractor, the one who did the blueprint for our lives. He's the only one really that knows how we're built. You hear it constantly, how I'm wired. Well, really the way you learn how you're wired, one is through life experiences, but you learn through the Lord. And I'm learning myself to not only listen to my life, but I'm learning also to listen to the Lord, because he knows how we're wired. He knows what will work for us and what won't. And we are hard-headed sometimes. That, when you go back into that scripture, it says that, you can't just use his words. We can't just use his words, and Bible says, but we have to apply them. Self-help books, these video posts, everybody's doing it. I think it's wonderful, but we just can't just hear it. Something about us has to be in a position to say, you know what, I honestly and genuinely desire to see a change in my life. I'm willing to admit that I'm unhappy. I'm willing to admit that I'm unsettled. I'm willing to admit, you understand what I'm saying, that things are not going well for me. I'm willing to admit that somehow or another I'm bitter, and that's what we want to be able to do, is to be able to honestly admit where we are. As I said, it's really time to have a real conversation with yourself. So I want to read something that I thought was really powerful also. And it's taken from this book called Getting Unstuck. It's a manual, and it says changing ineffective behaviors and attitudes requires more than getting good advice. You must be in the right state of mind. Again, you must be in the right state of mind, exposed to experiences that challenge your distorted or obsolete ideas, and committed to change. So we see a couple of things here. It says that our behaviors require more than just getting good advice. That's exactly what I just said. We've got to be in a place where we got to be in the right state of mind. Okay, exposed to experiences that challenge your distorted beliefs. How often do we stay in situations that are comfortable for us? We hang around people that make us feel comfortable. And the thing about it is you're hearing this a lot about level up. It's great. but we also want to challenge ourselves to grow. So in order for us to grow, we've got to be around people who challenge us, people who will call us on the carpet, people who will say, nah, that ain't a spade, and who will call a spade a spade. And so he says, ask yourself, am I really willing to accept something I take for granted may be incorrect? Am I sincerely willing to try to look at things differently? Am I willing to put myself in a frame of mind to accept that there are things about myself and the world that I must relearn? And that's what I'm talking about too. Again, I keep going back to that analogy where I said we somehow get caught up in following the beat of someone else's drum, so much so that we lose the sound of our own. And that's what that just says, that there are certain things about ourselves that we have to actually unlearn, certain beliefs and things that we have established about the world that we have to unlearn. And then there are some things that we have to relearn, because it's underneath all of that inauthenticity. It's under all of, in other words, it's underneath all of the fake. And if we will all honestly admit it, we've learned how to fake it till we make it. And I know that works, and that really does apply in some situations, but it's not applicable in every situation. Okay. He says, am I willing to commit the effort to apply what I learned to change my behavior? So you can go to self-help groups. You can go to therapy. You can go to Celebrate Recovery. Listen, I have done them all. You can read every self-help book. You can study. You can do all of these things. But if there's no activation of the knowledge and the insights that you get, you will stay stuck. You will stay in the same old destructive and old patterns that you were in, and nothing will change. Nothing will change. And, again, in order for us to realize what's not working for us and to change it, we've got to be willing to have those real conversations with ourselves. If you were to ask yourself truthfully right now, am I living the life that I really desire to live? Am I happy with the job that I have? Am I happy in the relationship that I'm in? I don't believe in hopping from relationship to relationship. You can definitely learn. You really learn a lot about yourself in relationships. And, there are those relationships where we're committed. And look, you got to change with it. It's not like, hey, well, I don't like this, so I'm going to get out of it. No, sometimes the Lord, will use those things and even the flaws of the other person, to cause us to grow, to cause us to change, to cause us to conform. So what we want to do is make sure that we are listening to our lives, that we are applying ourselves to change, that we're not only hearing these great insights, but that we're activating it. But again, you have to sit down and have a real conversation with yourself. You have to pay attention to how you feel when you get around a person. Pay attention to how you feel when you go to that job and you clock in every day. Pay attention. I'm not saying be a fool and go and quit and you don't have anything else. Now that's just foolish, unless the Lord told you to do that. And he would definitely need to be the one to, that was my Tamar pop. I can't do that too well. But anyway, the Lord would definitely have to be the one to tell you to do that. But what I'm saying is, we really do have to have those real conversations. Pay attention to how it feels. Okay. Pay attention when you first start dating a person. Pay attention to how they make you feel. And even though we choose how we feel, but pay attention. Pay attention. Be willing to have a real conversation with yourself. Am I happy? Is this what I want? Right now, if I died tomorrow, would I have peace with the life that I've lived, with the choices I've made? Okay. And have I done everything I could to rectify the bad choices that I have made? Or am I stuck in a place of guilt? Am I stuck in a place of shame? Am I stuck in a place of self-pity? Because all self-pity does is basically causes you to keep perpetuating and attracting the same cycle into your life over and over and over and over again. It becomes a part of our narrative. It becomes a part of our story, and we don't have a problem telling it. And that's that person that every time you come and you talk to them, that same issue is coming up every time. And they're talking about the same thing, the person who hurt them, the person who offended them, the job that never valued them, the so-and-so. Hey, listen, that's everybody's story. But we have the power to change it. You don't like it? Change it. You know, if you feel like you're on a job where you're not valued, guess what? Make yourself indispensable. Okay? Make them feel the need for you. And when you leave, there should be a loss, you know? And so that's the thing. Like, we want to sit and we want to be complacent, you know, and we complain about eating beanie weenies. But look, hey, if you don't want to eat beanie weenies, you got to go to work. You got to get out here and say, hey, yeah, I ain't been back to school in 20 years, and I don't want to go back to school, but I'm going back to school. Why? Because I want to change my story. It can't stop here. I want more. I want more. And that just needs to be the decision that we all make. Take responsibility for yourself. And that's really the nail right there, where I wanted to drive in. Take responsibility for yourself. You know, stop talking about how everybody treats you, or, you know, how you're not valued, or you're not getting what you need, and people are, you know, don't understand you and all this. Hey, guess what? From the time we become adults, we become responsible for ourselves. Mom is no longer responsible. Dad is no longer responsible. We are responsible. Own your junk. Own your mess. Hey, we don't have control over all the things that have happened to us in our lives, but we somehow or another, we got to make it good. God, he definitely can make it good. But there are some things, you know what? You're always going to have a little bit of it with you. When you go through certain traumatic experiences, hey, people say, get over it. I don't think you ever get over it, but you move on, you move forward, and somehow or another, we make it work for us. So take responsibility for yourself. Take responsibility for your life. You are in charge. You are responsible. Don't walk around trying to hold everybody else accountable for what you need. Hold yourself accountable for what you need. Okay, you want more money? Go after it. Again, sell yourself, you know, be willing to sell yourself, you know, and make yourself marketable. All right, so that you attract what it is that you want. And that's the thing. Again, you know, we get on this train of what was, and we get stuck there. You know what was is over. Bishop Jake says it all the time, you know, that if it was supposed to be in your life, you know, then it would be here. If it left your life, it means you don't need it in this season. And so sometimes we're still trying to make good on those investments we made in people, in things. And you know what? We're just going to have to count it as experience and move forward. So that's my thing tonight, is just to remember that, to take responsibility for yourself. Be accountable. Have a real conversation with yourself. Don't stay in a pattern that you know no longer serves you. Don't stay in a relationship that does not serve you. Why would we go into or engage in battle when there are no spoils? What are you fighting about? You know, this is the thing. If you're fighting with a person, especially a partner, if you guys are always fighting and there's no end game, there's no, you know, this is where we're going, this is what the end goal is, then basically all y'all doing is wearing yourself out. And if it doesn't work out, you ain't gonna be fit for nobody else. And that's just how it goes. We're talking about having real conversations. So this is the thing, you know, I look back on some of the choices that I made. And one of the things I can say is that I wasted a lot of time, but thank God he is a redeemer of the time that I have wasted. And I know he's going to use it, but I look back on it, and some of the fights that I had and some of the battles, you know, that I went into, there were no spoils. So I wasted energy in things that you can't get back. You cannot get that time back. You keep telling yourself, I have time. You don't know that. You don't know. Things change so rapidly now. Life could change in a moment. Don't take for granted that you have the tomorrow or the next day, or you have 5 years. Okay, I'm on a 5-year plan, and in 5 years, I'm going to do this. And when I get this, and when I get that, hey, look, just like I had to do with this broadcast tonight, I had to decide, you know what? You like to have all your ducks in a row. And guess what? You know what you need to do? You need to shock the heck out of yourself and make yourself do this tonight. You need to do it now. You need to act now. If you know you're in a toxic relationship, you know what? You need to act now. Do something about it now. Does that mean that you leave immediately? Absolutely not. You need to have a plan. But make a decision about what you need, what you want, and you be responsible for you. Don't make anybody else, don't give anybody else that job. They are unqualified. They are unqualified. Only you and the Lord know what you need. And you have a real conversation with yourself and be honest with yourself. And I guarantee you, give it some time and you're going to find a real, true, genuine peace that you have. And that doesn't mean you will have everything. It doesn't mean that everything will go your way. It doesn't mean that everything that you do will prosper. Some things that we do, you know what? They will fail. And that will be a part of your process. That will build you. It gives you more wisdom. Okay. And then it shows you how to build more wisely next time. But I just want to close with saying, take responsibility for yourself. Have a real conversation with yourself. Ask yourself those questions we said earlier. You know, am I happy? Do I really have peace? Is this God's plan for my life? Am I walking his plan for my life? Am I walking it out? You know, if tomorrow I knew that, hey, we always think it's death. It might not be death. Sometimes your mental state, I mean, it can be in a matter of months. We don't ever know what's going to hit our life. Things can change. So don't take for granted that you have time. Now, I don't mean get anxious. I mean, you know, the Bible says be anxious for nothing. But what I am saying to you is today's the day. This is the moment. You get to decide. Have a real conversation with yourself and allow the Lord to lead you into your happy. Allow God to lead you into a real state of peace, that no matter what I have, no matter whether it's where I want to be or not, that you know what, I have my peace. Divorced, I have my peace. I may not make as much money as I make last time or before, but I have my peace. I may not be living in the dream city where I desire to live, but I have my peace. I may not be driving the car that I wanted, but I have my peace. Kill the comparison. Ask yourself the real questions and allow God again to lead you into your happy place. I have so enjoyed this time tonight, and I hope that it's been impactful. And I'm for you, and I believe God with you. And I just pray that you have a great week.